Hello everybody. This is a little video I decided to do just because I'm putting a new bottom head on one of my really old, nice Ludwig vintage. It's a heavy brass two-piece shell snare drum. It's a 6.5 by 15 inches, which makes it a little bit more rare. 15 inches is a larger than normal size for a snare drum. Most snare drums are 14 inches, but I love this 15-inch size. It gives you a low fundamental pitch, and it just gives it such a nice depth and warmth. So these older Ludwig drums are really collectible. There's a lot of great studios that own these, and a lot of great studio drummers that, you know, even though they endorse some other company, they're actually playing these old vintage Ludwig snares in the studio. It's because they have a really unique warmth and just a lack of bad overtones. But they just give you so much versatility and just an awesome sound. But I did want to go over some of the differences in an old vintage Ludwig snare drum versus a modern Ludwig snare, because there are definite differences. Really, you know, I guess it was before the middle of the 1930s. These brass Ludwig snare drums, they're brass with a nickel plating, and they're actually a two-piece shell. Unlike the modern Black Beauties and Ludwig snare drums like Superphonics are just spun shells, meaning they're one-piece shell that's spun and then they put a bead around it. But these shells are actually two pieces, and you can see down in here, you can see the little seam where the top half and the bottom half, there's a bead put in it, and then they're put together. They're basically soldered together. And the other huge difference, which I think makes a huge difference in the sound, is the fact that the flange here at the top, the bearing edge that the head rides on, is not a bent over piece. On a modern Ludwig snare, this piece is just part of the outside shell, and then it's just bent over, usually a 30-degree angle. Well, on these drums, this piece here is actually made separate from the drum. It's like a big brass triangle, and then it's taken and it's a solid piece, and it's soldered onto the shell. So you can see this is the top side of the snare, but you can see where it's flat on the bottom and then it's soldered into place on the bottom. And I really think that additional mass to that flange, it really does a great job of just taking away some of the nasty overtones and shell tone, and it really gives the drum a lot of structural rigidity too. These old drums are nice and heavy, so this drum, you know, it's a pretty valuable drum. It's not as valuable as some of the Black Beauties, but these nickel over brass drums, relatively speaking, are a really good value compared to an actual 1920s Black Beauty, which go for $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, way out of my price range. But if you just want the sound and get a drum that's the same exact construction other than the aesthetic parts, these nickel over brass drums are just amazing, and you know, I'm lucky to have this one. I probably would part with just about any drum in my collection before I would part with this one. It's just amazing. So anyway, if you're not drummers, you probably don't care about this very much, but you know, they're great. They're great drums. All right, thanks.